Hey guys, welcome to my second video. So if you watched my first video, you'll know that it kind of assumed a level of knowledge that a lot of people watching the video probably didn't have. So I decided for my second video to kind of go a little bit more the basic route. So go over kind of an introduction to MBTI or Myers-Briggs personality types. So basically, I'm going to introduce you to the 8 cognitive functions. So each of the 16 types has 4 cognitive functions in what's called a functional stack. And so I'm going to first define what the 8 functions are, and then I'm going to give you a relatively easy way of identifying what the cognitive function stack is based on the 4-letter type. So the 8 cognitive functions are divided into 4 different sort of categories of cognition. And those are sensing, intuition, thinking, and feeling. Each of these functions are either extroverted or introverted. So that's why there's 8 of them. You have the sensing, intuition, thinking, and feeling, and that's 4. And then you have the possibility of extroverted or introverted. So that makes 8 cognitive functions. So essentially the extroverted functions are objective. They're considered objective because they're based on the external outer world, and the introverted functions are considered subjective because they're based on an inner world, and basically they're more personal. And the extroverted functions are usually easier to spot. So I guess another way of saying that is a person who's an introvert, their top cognitive function might be an introverted function, but you might be able to see their first extroverted function more easily. And this might make a little bit more sense once I explain what the functions are and what the functional stack looks like for the types. So first I'm going to start off by defining the 8 cognitive functions. First we have extroverted sensing, and all of these cognitive functions use a 2-letter abbreviation. So for extroverted sensing it's SE, so SE or extroverted sensing. And that's essentially an awareness of tangible or physical data, otherwise known as concrete data. And that comes from the 5 senses, so sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. And so extroverted sensing is very much oriented to the here and now, the immediate physical environment. It also seeks to share exciting experiences with other people. People whose dominant function is extroverted sensing will generally be adventurous and will usually prefer to do these with other people because it's an extroverted function, and extroverted functions, they generally involve either external environment or other people. And next we have introverted sensing. So extroverted sensing and introverted sensing are both sensing, so they're similar in a lot of ways, but introverted sensing is more about inner body sensations like hunger, thirst, internal body temperature. It also deals with long-term memory specifically of concrete data, so long-term memory of what the 5 senses have perceived. So people with dominant introverted sensing generally have very good long-term memories, and they can recall details very, very well with a lot of precision. And introverted sensing is also often described as being past focused, so focused on the past rather than so much in the present or the future, whereas extroverted sensing is focused on the present. And then we have extroverted intuition. Extroverted intuition is the exploration of ideas and possibilities. It takes information in and it expands it exponentially into new ideas and possibilities. It also seeks novelty, so it's always looking for something new. And then we have introverted intuition. Introverted intuition sort of does the opposite of what extroverted intuition does. Where extroverted intuition takes one idea or possibility or stimulus and expands it into many different ideas or possibilities. Introverted intuition does the opposite, and it takes in many different ideas, possibilities, data, and it filters it down to a few or even one idea or possibility or vision or plan. And so introverted intuition is also very future oriented, and it's associated with long-term visions and long-term planning. Introverted intuition is also associated with vivid visualization, so it's the function that's most responsible for creating sort of mental imagery. Introverted intuition is also the function of willpower, so the desire and ability to get what one wants. Next, we have extroverted intuition. Extroverted intuition is rational judgment based on empirical data. It's very focused on efficiency. It likes to create and follow systems. It's very structured in that sense. Essentially, extroverted thinking can be summarized as doing what needs to be done to get the job done. And extroverted thinking is very much based on practical thinking, what gets results, what works. Introverted thinking is more internal logic. It's more theoretical, not as practical as extroverted thinking. It seeks solutions independently rather than using external systems. It sort of creates an internal system of its own and tends to follow that much more than any other system. And introverted thinking searches for the ultimate truth. Extroverted feeling is external ethics. So it has a focus on the values of society or of the community or even a small group. It is more focused on what other people are valuing rather than what that person values personally. It's also all about social harmony, awareness of other people's emotional states and needs. And then finally, introverted feeling is an internal moral compass. It has to do with personal values, authentic feelings, whereas extroverted feeling will sort of center itself around other people's emotions and feelings. Introverted feeling is much more about authentic feelings of that person. And it's essentially just an awareness of a person's own emotions. So introverted feeling is the emotion that is in tune with your own emotions. So each of the 16 types has a unique set of 4 of these 8 cognitive functions in a particular order of preference. And this is called a function stack. So to sort of determine what the functional stack is for each of the 16 MBTI types based on the 4 letters for each type, first thing you could do is look at the first letter, E or I. If it's E, that means the first function or the dominant function is an extroverted function. If the first letter is I, that means the first function is an introverted function. The middle 2 letters are what determine the type of functions the first and second functions are. So for example, for ESTP, the first 2 functions will be sensing and thinking. So then looking at both the first and the last letter, if it's an EJ type, then the first function is extroverted judging function. So extroverted judging is either extroverted thinking or extroverted feeling. To sort of clarify, the perceiving functions are sensing and intuition, and the judging functions are thinking and feeling. So for EJ types, their first function is either going to be extroverted feeling or extroverted thinking. For the EP types, extroverted perceiver types, their first function is also extroverted, but it's an extroverted perceiving function, so either extroverted sensing or extroverted intuition. For the IJ types, the first function is an introverted perceiving function, so either introverted sensing or introverted intuition. And for the IP types, the first function is introverted judging function, so either introverted thinking or introverted feeling. And another important point is the last letter, either the J or the P, that determines whether the first extroverted function in the stack is a judging function, extroverted thinking, extroverted feeling, or perceiving function, extroverted sensing, and extroverted intuition. And the direction of each function, which means whether it's extroverted or introverted, this always follows the pattern E-I-E-I for extroverts or I-E-I-E for introverts. More specifically, the functions always follow the pattern extroverted judging, introverted perceiving, introverted judging for the EJs. They always follow extroverted perceiving, introverted judging, introverted perceiving for the EPs. Introverted perceiving, extroverted judging, introverted judging, extroverted perceiving for the IJs. Introverted judging, extroverted perceiving, and extroverted judging for the IPs. So each type has exactly one of each function type. So the sensing, intuition, thinking, and feeling. Every type has one of those in its function stack. The first and last, or the first and fourth function in each stack will always be the opposite. So as an example, the ESTP stack is extroverted sensing, introverted thinking, extroverted feeling, and introverted intuition. So the extroverted sensing and introverted intuition are opposite functions. So extroverted sensing being first, the last function will always be the opposite, introverted intuition. And the same applies to the middle 2 functions. So for the ESTP, the second function is introverted thinking, and the third function is extroverted feeling, and those are the 2 opposite functions of each other. And here's a list of all of the functional stacks of each of the types. All right, so that's all I have for this video. I hope that it wasn't too confusing. I know that is a lot to take in for someone who's new to this. All right, thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe. And also, please let me know what you guys would like to see for the next video I make. Right now, I'm planning on doing a similar video, a sort of introduction video onto Enneagram, the other personality system with the 9 different types, 1 through 9. So just let me know if you guys have any ideas of what you would like me to do for the video following that Enneagram video. All right, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys later.